Hello, everybody. We just got back from seeing the new Quentin Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and wasn't there a Once Upon a Time in Mexico? I feel like there
Sounds
was.
familiar.
Yeah, it does sound familiar. I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up in my head. But we saw Once Upon a Time with Hollywood, Brad Pitt, Leo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, and cast of characters just popping in there making
Al Pacino,
cameos. Yeah,
Kurt
see, I'll call Al
Russell.
Pacino a cameo. I'll call Kurt Russell a cameo. We'll talk a little bit like non-spoilery vague, and then we'll get into spoilers a little bit. This movie doesn't have really much of a plot for most of the movie. You're just kind of traveling along with like the lives of these I don't want to say washed up, but slightly washed up actor and stuntman, and you kind of just going on like a day in the life with them, and you like
A few
Sharon,
days.
Sharon Tate's like his next door neighbor, and like you kind of see her life, day in the lifestyle.
Yeah, most of it's just context.
That's like the first two acts of the movie, and I'll tell you right now, this movie doesn't work if the chemistry between Brad Pitt and Leo DiCaprio is off. Like those two just as like these buds that just hang out, they look out for each other, they don't really like care that they know their roles in like their partnership. So that's just one of the things I really liked, and they didn't like Brad Pitt says it. Hey, I'm not complaining. I carry your luggage. I drive you around. It's a good job,
Carry
and
the
I
load.
like it. Yeah, yeah, I carry his load. He knows his place, and he's okay with that. And I just thought that was kind of a cool thing where like
I'll fix that.
he didn't find it degrading to be like Leo DiCaprio's stuntman and driver, because he wasn't just a stuntman. He was stuntman, driver. He was kind of like do everything that Leo couldn't do on his own, type of thing. And yeah, so you get a little bit of Manson. We both said we don't think Manson actually shows up in the movie.
No, but they have a credited actor.
That was
on
IMDb though. You can't trust IMDb.
There was also a link in there, which is
Yeah,
even more
IMDb.
confusing.
IMDb said that I remember it said somebody ridiculous was playing Green Lantern in Justice League, and that was not true because there was no Hal Jordan Green Lantern in Justice League.
Unite the Seven. There are only six.
No, it was Unite the Seven Seas. That's what that ended up being, or at least that's they say it was. But we'll never really know because we don't have the Snyder Cut. Release the Snyder Cut. There is no Snyder Cut. Anyway, this is the Tarantino cut of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And see that segue? You like that? So there were some cool things. Some of the cameos, like Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell was a narrator, and he was like a stunt coordinator in the movie. Al Pacino played like this Italian film mogul that was trying to get Leo to make westerns for him. Dakota Fanning played like this awful Manson meth head. She's almost unrecognizable.
Squeaky.
Squeaky, yeah. And
Squeaky Frome.
so yeah, the first two acts of this movie, you're just kind of along for the ride, and then, so before we get into spoilers, like you like the movie, I like the movie, and it was good. It's slow, but you'll hear us talk about it in spoilers.
Oh,
but
it didn't feel like.
it didn't feel like a 3-hour
long.
movie, like a 2-hour 45-minute movie, and it didn't. I didn't feel like I wasted my time because I liked the characters. I think Margot Robbie scenes were a bit of I do think a lot of her scenes were a bit of a waste of time. Like you don't really need to know like background information about her character. This scene, she goes to a party, she goes to a movie theater, and I like how I will say that I like how Tarantino directed those scenes, because the way that he directed these scenes, it almost seemed like there was imminent danger in these scenes. Like she's walking, and it's framed in a way where I feel like she's about to get hit by a bus, and then like it's like another camera angle, like it makes it seem like somebody's stalking her, and it's an interesting payoff at the end of the movie, with what happens. And so yeah, I'm just gonna score this before we get into spoilers. I know you don't love scores, but I'll give 7.5 out of 10. I'm not a huge Tarantino fan, but like this, I'd say this is in my top 5 Tarantino movies. I'd put it below Django, Bastards, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. I'd say probably put it at 5.
Well, I like the score of this movie. Blended in pretty well.
Yeah, the score, soundtrack, like it was very 50s, 60s vibe.
Well, it's the end of the 60s.
Yeah.
About to go into the 70s hippie movie.
It's interesting. I don't really remember like many score beats other than like those regular like sort of I don't even know how to describe it. 60s disco stuff.
Most of the music
soundtrack
incorporated itself into
the movie. Yeah,
the movie.
It was naturally in the movie. People were playing records. They were turning on the radio in the car. I definitely like that. I prefer that a lot more than another Margot Robbie movie, Suicide Squad, where the music is just playing every time the scene changes. There's no context to the movie. You're just trying to almost emotionally manipulate the audience into feeling happy because it's a popular song that's coming on and not because it's a good movie. Having said that, I love Suicide Squad. And the soundtrack's a good soundtrack, even though it doesn't. If you took it out of the movie, I don't think it really makes a difference. This movie, though, the soundtrack's almost a character. This soundtrack is playing, you know exactly where you are in time. Yeah. Which was a little difficult for me in times because I'm not a 1900s history buff. Like I like American history, like world history, but more before like Hollywood's golden age and stuff. So yeah, I liked that. Timothy Olyphant is actually in this for a while. He's really great. He's playing. He's the one that's playing like the lead in the western that DiCaprio's on. He keeps forgetting his lines. And Timothy Olyphant's the good guy.
Spanish?
Slightly, yeah. And I liked Timothy Olyphant a lot. He's on a lot of Western television shows. Justified. I'm pretty sure he was on Deadwood also. So when I saw him as like the lead of that show, I'm like, oh yeah, that would absolutely happen. Timothy Olyphant would get cast in the lead of a Western show because he has been before. So yeah, let's get into spoilers and So we're gonna spoil this now. Third act of the movie is crazy, and I love it. Like we said, it's a slow movie, but it pays off at the end because Brad Pitt has this dog, and Brandy, a fine girl. And Kurt Russell was there. Yeah. So you get to the part where Sharon Tate is about to get murdered. Like, they're doing the whole setup. They're telling you what the date is. They're saying it was the hottest day of the summer that year. All factual things about the murder of Sharon Tate. And then when these meth heads come and break into their house, they essentially break into the wrong house. And they start trying to kill Brad Pitt's character, and he wants to kill
Cliff Booth.
They're just trying to kill people in Hollywood that are actors, and their justification for it is that we're going to kill the people that taught us how to kill. It doesn't go well for them. And it's very satisfying. There were people clapping in our audience because the dogs... Brad Pitt's like on this acid trip. So, 2 things you can take from this movie. Brad Pitt. Great example on how to handle a meth head. You punch them in the face 3 times, and then make them change your tire. Second thing, though, bad example. First off, don't smoke an acid-soaked cigarette. That's just rule number 1 of life. Don't do that. And then secondly, don't smoke an acid-soaked cigarette from one of the disciples of Charles Manson. You don't know what kind of like infected blood or whatever is in there. You're gonna die by smoking that thing. So that's one thing that I didn't like. But Brad Pitt's treatment of just horrible drugged people was inspiring, and I loved it. Brad Pitt had some really good action beats in this movie. I know I'm kind of jumping a little all over the place, but there's this scene with Bruce Lee. Or it's not Bruce Lee, obviously, but it's the character Bruce Lee. He throws him into a car, and I'm pretty satisfied about that. that point because the character Bruce Lee had just said something about crippling
Muhammad Ali.
yeah, Muhammad,
Cassius
but it,
Clay.
it, it was his actual name.
Cassius Clay.
Cassius Clay. Yeah, there you go. He said he's going to cripple Cassius Clay. And I was just like, well, that's horribly offensive. And then he just gets thrown into a car. So it just puts a dent in the car. So that was a pretty great part of the movie. I still can't tell, though, if that actually happened or if that was all in his head. Because, like, I said it out loud in the movie. It's like, did that actually happen? You said no, and my dad said yes. So I think it's kind of open for interpretation there.
No,
Because...
they showed that it was just a dream.
Well, you know what? That's where I
He
wasn't
on
sure.
that set.
Because it showed that it could have been like, oh, yes, that was just him pondering it. Like, what
Fantasizing.
would have happened if he went there? Or it could have been he stopped what he was doing, he went, he tried, and then the next day he was back right in the position that he started in. So I think you could
'cause
view
when
it
they,
either
when
way.
they came out of it, they showed that
Yeah.
the antenna was in its place, so he was thinking about that while
Yeah.
he was fixing the antenna.
Only Tarantino could tell us for sure, because he literally could have just stopped what he was doing right there. Because it's something I gotta realize on second watch. I'm not sure if the same song is playing when it cuts back. Because that would be a good, because Margot Robbie was playing a record, and I wasn't really paying attention to the soundtrack at that point because I didn't know that I had to, but that's something that I'll watch on DVD. We'll find out for sure at some point. But I just thought that was a funny part of the movie that, like, two people had two different interpretations sitting next to me, and I was just like, I don't know, I'm open to either one. So when these awful people break into the house, the dog, it's three people, it's pretty much 3 versus 3, and then there's Leo DiCaprio's flamethrower, yes. His Italian wife, though, like, she was pretty great in that scene just because, like, she's terrified at first, and then she sees Brad Pitt and the dog destroying these other people, and she tries to hit one of them, and then she starts
get
running
one punch.
away.
She
Yeah,
gets
she
one
does get
punch.
one punch in it. It's a good punch. But yeah, so Brad Pitt's acid tripping. These people walk in, and he's just like, you guys are real. But it was just cool. I like how all that happened because at first he thought his dog was just whining, and then he looked at his dog, and his dog was just, woof! And then he's just like, okay, I get it. So I just like that bond that Brad Pitt had at his job. And I'm sorry, I'm just gonna call them the actors' names just because it's easier.
Cliff Booth and Brandy.
You're very better than I am. So they break into Leo's house. Leo's in the pool drinking margaritas, and Brad Pitt, he gets a good shot in at all 3 of these people. One of them he throws the can of dog food at, which I was just waiting for. So when that happened, I was just like, yes! And then another one, he just like kind of takes the guy's knife and stabs it at the dog, eats his balls off. That was incredible as well. That dog needs to be in the next John Wick movie, for sure. And then there's this other girl, the redheaded one that was going after the wife. He realizes he was stabbed in the ass, Brad Pitt, and then he just starts slamming her head against whatever he
Everything.
can find, and it is so great. Don't do meth. So that whole sequence where Leo gets the flamethrower, and it's a really good callback because at the beginning of the movie they're like showing all of like a bunch of Leo's roles, and then he has one of them, he's just killing these Nazis with a flamethrower, and he's like, yeah, I actually learned how to use a flamethrower for that. It's a dangerous weapon, so I wanted to get the feel for it. And then it's revealed that he actually had the flamethrower still, and just shows how stupid this person was. He shoots her with a flamethrower. She's in a pool, her hair is on fire, and she's not just dunking into the water, she's getting cooked.
Her eyes were covered up with the dog
Yeah,
food.
the dog
so
food
she
can
could barely
after Brad
see
Pitt
and
destroyed
was
her.
a little bit out of her senses.
Yeah.
'cause- yeah.
But still, I just thought that was hilarious. You're in water! Ugh. But if that ending isn't as satisfying, Like that's the word I'd use for like that end fight sequence is satisfying. If that's not as satisfying, I don't think this movie is a good movie because it doesn't really have a plot otherwise. It's just kind of this movie about these two buds that just drive around Hollywood and then go to Italy for a montage.
6 months.
Yeah.
Making 4 movies.
A lot of Tarantino's framing in this, though. Like, I really like the camera framing, the camera work. Especially when Brad Pitt goes to, like, that ranch that they used to film on. And just the way that the camera was framed, like, it would show the house, it would show Brad Pitt from behind. Yeah. It was really stylistic at that point, but it was satisfying sequence because it's really tense. You don't know what's going to happen. Dakota Fanning is a mess, and it's great. It's great. It's very long. It's a very long movie. I didn't really feel the length myself, but I can understand how other people could feel the length of it. Now, looking back at it, like with hindsight, seeing like the end of the movie, I see a lot of scenes that you could just kind of get rid of. I said this before. A lot of Margot Robbie scenes, I think those were more just to like build tension for what you think is coming, and then it doesn't come, and you realize, oh, so that's kind of just
Like,
a misdirect, and
like
you didn't
Hush.
really need them. A little bit like that Batman Hush movie we watched yesterday, yeah. And I'm okay with misdirection. It's just with this, I'm okay with the misdirection because that was a historical event that actually happened. So it's not like a comic book that like you're assuming the audience has read when only a certain percentage of your audience. Most of the people that saw this movie, I assume, at least had some background information on the murder of Sharon Tate. Yeah, there was some like that whole sequence with her, like the Playboy party. Like, I don't know why we needed to see that. The sequence with her going like she's like, oh, I'm in the movie. I can't give you $3 to buy my own movie ticket, but I'm in the movie. Let me in for free. I didn't get that. Like, what do you do? And then we just really need to take a minute to talk about Quentin Tarantino's foot fetish. There are a lot of dirty feet that are in focus in this movie. And it's just... Why, man? Come on. Did you see Tarantino in the movie? Because he usually puts himself as a cameo in in his movies. So that's actually a cameo that I couldn't think of. I don't remember seeing him in the movie. I could be mistaken, but
The only thing I noticed was the Bad Apple cigarettes.
what about the
Green
Bad
Apple.
Apples? Green Apple cigarettes? What was that? Is that something he puts in all of his movies?
Yeah.
Well, tell me about this. I don't know about this.
So there's like, in all of his movies, as far as I know, there's like he puts this he's got like his own brand of cigarettes that he only uses for
Yeah.
the movies and stuff.
'Cause he doesn't
but
wanna
it's
give,
in-
Probably because he doesn't want to give tobacco brands the advertisement.
maybe.
But what were you
But
saying?
like, yeah, it's in every. It's either Bad Apple or Green Apple. I don't know. It's something with an apple. It's got an apple on the thing, and there's like a worm sticking out of it.
Like a
My theory is that with that, and the fact that he does like alternate history
Mhm.
where things are like
Yeah.
different, that the existence of that cigarette brand
Mhm.
is what's causing these slight changes in history that he's putting forth on the big screen.
Now, a lot of people like theorize like are Tarantino's movies connected, and I think they absolutely are. That's like a
Especially
Pizza
'cause of
Planet.
the
Yeah,
Bad Apple cigarettes.
it's like a Pizza Planet and Pixar type thing.
yeah, Pizza
yeah,
Planet.
Pizza
Target is
Planet.
in every single movie.
Yeah,
The A113 is in every single movie. John Lasseter's in every single. John Ratzenberger. Sorry.
There
is
was
in every single movie.
there was good use of the Wilhelm scream
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was funny.
There was what was it during the flamethrower part? Or yeah,
No, it was the like
Western.
pretty
He
much the
shoots
very
it, yeah.
first thing of the movie. They had the guy fall out of the window
I like that.
through the.
I did like a lot of the
I don't know what
camera
it's called.
filters. Like
I like
showing
that they
you.
paid attention
yeah.
and like when they were showing a lot of
Clips. Films?
Rick Dalton.
Yes.
Yeah, when they were showing a lot of Rick
They were
Dalton's
showing his work,
roles,
yeah.
with Leonardo DiCaprio, they paid attention to
The format.
how like the lighting reflected off
Mhm.
of the people because like
Yeah.
it's very noticeable
Mhm.
the shine, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows what I mean. With
Yeah.
the westerns, they have
The format.
that.
Yeah. Gloss, glisten, sepia
Gloss,
tone.
there you go.
Yeah. So there was one of the things that I liked was
No,
that
when they were in color, they have it's a little off.
yeah.
And like they paid attention to exactly how to recreate that.
What I liked about that was the filters that they had. Not just the filters though, but like the aspect ratio, because this is a time like during television and movies where the
4:3.
format's changing. Wait, it's 4:3, but there's also like you were hearing Pacino talk about all the different like 35 millimeter, 17 millimeter, like all the
60
different films.
millimeter.
But what I liked about that was like
But
when
that's
they
really
were
the quality of the
Yeah.
film that they're.
what they were doing the TV interview, like that was in black and white, that was in a 4:3 aspect ratio, but when they were showing like movies, it would be back to like it would still have that grain over it, but it would be like a slightly wider aspect ratio, and then when they would go back to like showing his Western TV show, it would go back to the 4:3, which I just appreciated that, like, oh, it's cool, it's like they're actually pretending like it's a TV show, which I heard Tarantino he made actual scripts for that show. What was it called? Bounty Boy or something? Bounty Hunt?
Bounty Law.
Bounty Law, yeah. So,
Featuring Rick Dalton.
so we don't know if, like, DiCaprio would ever sign on to that, but,
That could be cool.
Tarantino, I don't think it's going to be something that happens soon. He always said that after, like, his 10th film,
You
that,
go to TV.
he would go to TV or he would write plays or that he would retire. He's never going to retire from making films. I think that's just something that I think it's something that he does to make himself feel important, but people do whatever they got to do if they have to do that. I think now, though, like, from recent comments that he made, was that about a Star Trek movie saying that wouldn't count as one of his 10 films. That makes me think that he's going to do a Star Trek series at some point. So I think he's definitely going to be doing TV series. I'd love to see him, like that Rick Dalton or the Western Bounty Law series could be a pretty cool thing to watch if they got
Bounty
Leo.
Law.
If they didn't get Leo, I mean, I don't think it would be worth it. But get on like a Hulu that's owned by Disney maybe, or on a Netflix, or because he even said that he would pitch it to like a streaming service, CBS All Access even.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
could do the twofer with. The
Yeah,
Star
do
Trek
twofer.
and,
So just sign a
Bounty
production
Law.
deal with CBS All Access to like have exclusive, because like that's what I think it was, who's the director of Kingsman? Matt Vaughn. Yeah, Matt Vaughn I think did that with Netflix. Is that like he's developing certain shows and movies for Netflix. Yeah. So he could do something like that. But this is definitely a Tarantino movie, like no doubt about that. He works with the same people again, and it's just stylistically Tarantino, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a fun movie. I'd categorize this as a comedy. Like it's a comedy drama, but I think it's more of a
that's what
comedy.
they.
Yeah. The genre is
I remember they.
because
what
most
they
of
were
his
saying
movies, I mean, they're
is-
mostly like just dramas. They're looking for like Oscar baity stuff. During
Yeah,
like
comedy drama.
yeah, Golden Globe season, like when Golden Globes come around, like they always like bitch about categories being nominated in the wrong thing. I would definitely nominate this more as a comedy than as a drama. Because like it's funny because a lot of those movies, like they'll say comedy or musical, and then they'll say drama, and you'll have best lead act. And it's their way of giving. They only do that for the Globes. They don't do that for the Oscars. But it's their way of giving best lead actor to two people. So Leo could win that, and then whoever else, or this hypothetically could win best comedy, and then Avengers Endgame can win best drama for the Golden Globes, because it will be nominated. Yeah.
What was it? Oh yeah. So like, how do you feel about the term dramedy?
I don't like it.
Well, what about the flip comma?
Here's the thing. I don't think I'm one of those people, and I've said this a few times. I haven't seen a great comedy since I was a kid. So it's the thing. It's almost like comedy is redefined now because they don't really make successful straight up comedies anymore. They're either like an action comedy or like a serious comedy like this.
I was gonna say Deadpool or Tag
or dark. I'd say this is more of like a dark comedy. Just because just because of the subject matter. Because a lot of series on like Netflix are considered comedy, like Orange is the New Black. Like that was a comedy. Like that's not a comedy. That's a drama. They're in prison. It's not comedic. Like there's comedic undertones to it, but that's a drama. And if you're categorizing it that way, I would categorize it more as a drama, just because it doesn't fit like the. I still wouldn't call this the best comedy in years, just because that seems a little misleading. But if I'm going towards comedy or drama, I'm leaning towards comedy because there's a lot of laughs in the movie.
Yeah.
Anything else to say? This will make a good review after I edit it together.
You're serious?
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
That's two different movies, but we'll take it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching our review of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Go see it if you want to. If you want to wait for DVD, like this is when I could say, like, yeah, wait. If you don't have like the money to go spend. It's not one that you have to go out, rush out, and see. If you have the stubs, use the stubs to go see it. If you don't have the stubs, if you don't have the time, wait for DVD. You're not going to get that much of a bigger experience out of this movie seeing it in the cinema. So that's one of the things I like to take away from these reviews. Should you go see it in the theater or should you not? Devin has a thumbtack. Everybody have a good day. Thanks for watching our review. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. We'll see you next time.